The house was never quiet, but it was never whole either. Every evening Sarah walked into the kitchen, tied her apron, and set the table for 4. She moved carefully like it was a ritual. Plate for herself, plate for her daughter Lily, plate for her little boy Noah, and then the last plate. She placed it at the head of the table, polished and spotless. Fork aligned, glass filled with water, napkin folded just right. That chair was for her husband, Sergeant Michael Carter. But for 2 years, it stayed empty. When neighbors visited, some of them whispered, "She should stop setting that plate. It's too painful." But Sarah didn't care. For her, it wasn't painful. It was sacred. That empty chair was proof that she hadn't given up, that no matter how many nights dragged by, she still believed he'd walk through that door. One night, as they sat for dinner, little Noah tilted his head. "Mom, why do you put food for Dad if he's not here?" His big brown eyes were filled with curiosity, not judgment. Sarah's hands trembled for a second. Then she smiled softly. "Because when he comes home, Noah, I want him to know that we always kept a place for him." Noah nodded, accepting her words the way only children can. Lily, older and more aware, said nothing. She just lowered her gaze to her plate, hiding the tears she didn't want her mother to see. That chair, untouched and waiting, became more than furniture. It became a symbol of loyalty, of hope, and of the kind of love that refuses to forget. For Noah, waiting meant confusion. He was 4 when Michael left, and at 6, his memories were fading. He clutched a stuffed bear his dad had given him, the kind that played a voice recording when squeezed. Each night, Noah pressed the button, and his father's voice filled the dark room. "Daddy loves you. Be brave for me." Sometimes the batteries crackled, the voice faint, but Noah would listen anyway, hugging the bear tighter, whispering, "I'm being brave, Dad. Please come back." Lily's weight was heavier. At 12, she understood too much. She took over small roles in the house, walking her brother to school, helping him with homework, distracting him when he cried. She stopped asking her mom when Dad would return because she had learned the truth. There were no answers. At school, Father's Day was the hardest. Kids brought their dads to events, stood proudly as they clapped and laughed. Lily stood on the sidelines pretending she didn't care. But when she got home, she locked her bedroom door and cried quietly, because all she wanted was one dance with her father, one hug to remind her she wasn't forgotten. Sarah once found a crumpled letter under Lily's pillow. It read, "Dear Dad, I know you're busy being brave. I'm trying too, but sometimes I just need you here. Please come home soon. Love, Lily." Sarah folded it back, kissed her daughter's forehead while she slept, and wept silently into the darkness. Sarah's battlefield wasn't in the desert or mountains. It was in the kitchen, the bills stacked on the counter, the broken faucet she had to fix alone, the birthdays where she lit the candles herself. Every night, after putting the kids to bed, she sat at the edge of her bed and stared at Michael's uniform hanging in the closet. The shirt still smelled faintly of him, sweat, cologne, a scent that was fading with time, but still enough to make her close her eyes and pretend he was beside her. The nights were the hardest. She lay awake, the silence pressing on her chest. The last words he had told her before deployment replayed in her head like a cruel reminder. "Don't worry, Sarah. I'll be home before you know it." But before you know it had become years. There were days she wanted to break, to pack his things away, to stop setting the empty plate, to teach her children how to move on. But then she'd see Noah drawing stick figures of a smiling soldier holding hands with his family. She'd hear Lily humming the old lullaby her father used to sing, and she knew giving up was not an option, not for her, not for them. It was an ordinary afternoon. The rain poured, tapping against the windows. Sarah was folding laundry when the knock came. She almost didn't answer. Probably a delivery, she thought. But when she opened the door, her world stopped. There he was, Michael. His uniform was soaked, his boots heavy with mud. His face was harder now, lined with exhaustion. His eyes, once full of light, looked older, carrying stories she knew he'd never tell. For a second, Sarah couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. Then Noah screamed, "Daddy!" His small feet pounded the floor as he launched into his father's arms. Michael dropped his bag and caught him, hugging him so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered, "I missed you, buddy. I missed you so much." Lily stood frozen, tears spilling before she even realized. Slowly she stepped forward, her voice breaking. "Dad?" Michael knelt, arms wide. "Come here, sweetheart." She crashed into him, sobbing against his chest, and for the first time in years, she felt safe. Sarah stood in the doorway, trembling. Her heart wanted to leap with joy, but she saw it in his eyes. The war was still inside him. He was home, yes, but not whole. She stepped closer, touched his face, and whispered, "You came home." Michael kissed her forehead, his voice rough. "I promised I would." That evening, for the first time in years, the empty chair at the table was filled. The food went cold because no one wanted to eat. They just wanted to sit and look at him, afraid he might disappear again. Noah talked endlessly, showing his father the drawings he'd made. Lily sat close, holding his hand like she'd never let go. Sarah watched it all, smiling through tears. But deep inside, she knew the truth. Coming home didn't erase the war. The battles inside him would take years to heal if they ever did. Still, she also knew something else. Love wasn't measured in time apart or battles fought. Love was measured in waiting, in holding on, in refusing to give up even when the waiting broke you. The wives, the children, they were silent soldiers too. Their war was fought in living rooms and empty kitchens, in school plays and birthdays missed. And though the world never saw their medals, they carried scars just as real. And that night, as Sarah leaned her head on Michael's shoulder, she whispered a truth she had always believed. "You may have gone to war, but we were fighting too, and we won, because you came back."